Welcome to Was, the podcast exclusively for people who believe Art Linkletter was right. Kids do say the goddamnedest things. We are your hosts as always. I'm Nick.
I'm Andrew Rosie.
How in the world are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. I don't remember anything that happened this week, but other than that, I'm doing all right. It was just I
Did
don't
you black
remember.
out?
I just don't remember anything.
Did you debate? Did you debate that? Because that's how you debate.
No, did no debating. I mean, no, I just have a terrible memory that should probably be looked at, but I can't afford it.
Gotcha.
It's a problem.
It's a for-profit healthcare system at its best.
Yeah. How about you?
Just each week try to get through each day.
Yeah. What did you see this week?
So I'm going to save the best for last on this one.
Okay.
Did watch She-Hulk last week. I thought episode 2 was very good. I think as a whole so far, this is up there with Loki with me. I know we're only 2 episodes in, but it's my jam. It's sincerely my jam.
It's a lot of fun.
I went down some self-loathing during the week. Tough days at work. I watched a lot of Food Network, specifically Triple D.
Because, oh yeah, I mean
that's when your heart hurts, you go to the mayor of Flavortown.
Exactly
is what I have found.
Exactly.
Watched Cardinals Braves baseball weekend so far. They're playing as we record right now.
We split the series so far.
Yeah, I hope your team explodes in a fiery crash.
Thank you.
After finishing talking about 2019 movies last week, I went ahead and once again watched Godzilla King of the Monsters and then followed that into Godzilla vs. Kong because why the hell not?
Why not?
They're so much fun.
Oh, you didn't want to watch the more serious one, like just Godzilla? You watched the fun ones.
Hey, 2014's Godzilla is, for all intent and purposes,
it's not fun.
A better movie than both of those. But man, are the other two just a ton of fun.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I also...
What about you?
I watched She-Hulk. I watched She-Hulk. I don't know if you caught this, but Wolverine's confirmed in the universe.
The new Rockstars had a good video about that.
Yeah. And where is Hulk going? I'm assuming, we all assume Sakaar. What is he going back for? And I've heard some interesting theories recently, but everybody's talking about maybe Scar, his son.
I'm thinking we're going to see some World War Hulk, man.
Which would be awesome if we get Edward Norton back.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the other bit of information that came out literally the last couple of days. And yeah, that would be awesome. Blonsky's clearly lying, right? I mean,
so maybe, but obviously we're getting Wong in She-Hulk, like he's going to show up. I think something will happen to set Blonsky off, but I think he's like legitimately like at peace and controlling Abomination at this point.
He has a good case. He does have a good case. I will say that. But
him and his 9 soulmates are going to have a great time, is all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. What else did you watch?
The piece de resistance, if you will. I finally got to make it to the theater and watch Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, and how was it? It's so much better than the original, isn't it? You know
what? One, yes, it is. It is pure
propaganda. Exactly.
But it is such well done propaganda that you just go, yeah, okay.
I joined the Navy.
It has such an enjoyable plot, and they do it so well. And the fact is, those fighter jet scenes are crazy, and you are sitting on the edge of your seat going, holy shit, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like Melissa, my wife, was like grabbing my hand and being like,
hey, we even got a Tom Cruise run in this movie, snow, which was ridiculous.
We did.
We got him sneaking out of like basically a booty call like type shot where he's trying to sneak out of the house for some reason. You're a grown adult. It's fine. You're allowed to have consensual sex with Jennifer. Oh my God.
Jennifer Connelly.
I almost said Carpenter.
Jennifer Connelly, the immortal Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, Paul Bettany actually put out a really funny tweet since they surpassed one of the Avengers movies, I think just Infinity War. He was like, I'm never going to hear the end of this.
No, never. What a stellar combo. Paul Bettany and Jennifer Connelly, just
It's a very pretty combo.
two masters of their craft and rather uh just beautiful people.
She's miles above him, but
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah,
nothing
yeah.
against Paul
No,
Bettany.
Paul Bettany's a pretty man, but Jennifer Connelly is just
Insane.
insanely gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great movie. I don't hate Miles Teller in it.
I don't, which was a step forward for
I
me, I
know
believe.
Glenn Powell's pretty good in it too. The main
Really
girl is
good.
good too.
Phoenix. I
Yeah,
can't
her
think of her
name is
name off the top.
Karen. Her real name's Karen, but I can't think
Gotcha.
of her last name. But yeah,
Bob, and Hondo are two of my favorite characters in that
do you
movie.
know who Bob is? That's Bill Pullman's son.
No way.
That's Bill Pullman's son.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah, Bob is Bill Pullman's son.
Well,
Wait,
what's your
is
call
that
sign?
Bob?
Bob.
I mean, your call sign. Just like your nickname. It's
Just
Bob.
Bob.
He's the weird.
Great.
Never
Yeah.
mind. I was going to say he's like the
I do
weird
love.
comic relief, but there's Tom
Yeah.
Cruise is pretty much the comic relief in his own movie.
Yeah. John Hamm is also just inept.
Like the fact that I felt almost bad for John Hamm because I was like, he's a confident man, but to yell at Tom Cruise, you have to have some balls. Even if it's in a scene, you have to have balls to straight up be mean to Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah.
So
plain and simple, the movie was, as Drew stated, better than the original.
Yeah.
I cannot express it enough. Top Gun from '86 is a fine film, but this movie just beats it in every single possible category.
Yeah.
And we freaking get Ed Harris. Ed Harris shows up in this movie
for
as
a
well.
scene though. It sucks. We get him for a scene when we should get more.
He played that scene very well, though. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I wish we got more from Ed Harris.
I do too. And Val Kilmer shows up too.
That scene's really emotional. That scene was really emotional.
So excellent film. If you haven't gone to theaters, which, judging by the poll, most everyone has, but me up to that point, because it is, again, the 5th highest domestic poll for any movie ever. Go see it.
You know what's going to beat that though? Avatar 2.
Ugh.
Well, you're not going to go see The Way of Water?
I'm not. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not. But I will say this: worth my price of admission, even if projector would have gone out prior to Maverick, and I just saw the previews. Worth the price of admission was getting to see the Wakanda Forever trailer on the big screen.
It's seriously one of the best trailers ever cut. And everybody's saying, oh, it's partly because of the music. I don't care. Yeah, it is partly because of the music. It's perfectly mixed, but that's a damn great trailer. The music's part of the trailer. So
do I care about the Submariner? No.
I do. I love Namor.
Namor's fine.
He's the original mutant.
He is, but he's no Aquaman, is all I will say.
Okay.
Namor the Submariner, I could care less, but that trailer makes me want to care.
Yeah.
And that, like you said, the music is just so perfectly mixed, and it's a great trailer. It's one of the best trailers ever cut, like you said. So that was absolutely worth the price of admission.
Yeah. This week, I watched WWE. My God, once again, still hitting on all cylinders. The Sami Zayn with the Bloodline storyline for the past month has been probably the best storyline. In fact, Sami got Jey Uso and Roman Reigns to break on screen. They couldn't just handle what he was doing. He was that funny and that just great. Johnny Gargano returned after 9 months. He hasn't been under contract. He had a kid and stepped away, and that was amazing on Monday. Kevin Owens he's coming back to KO. He's going to be back in the main event scene here soon. But also on Thursday, Sheamus versus Gunther at Clash of the Castle next Saturday is going to be
King of the Castle.
It's going to be a belter. It's those two stiff motherfuckers are going to tear each other apart because they are both the most stiff wrestlers on a main mainstream wrestling, they are the
Mhm.
stiffest wrestlers. They
Gotcha.
will hurt the shit out of each other, and it's going to be amazing. So I'm looking forward to Clash at the Castle next Saturday. It's going to be a great show.
I heard AEW Dynamite was just, in fact, quite dynamite.
Dynamite
On
was good. The Bryan Danielson match was amazing. I know I didn't watch Rampage, which I was it Rampage or was it actually I don't think I watched Dynamite this week because I know John Moxley is now the actual AEW champion instead of the interim champion because he beat CM Punk in 3 minutes, which it's going to be a rematch at All In later this month.
Gotcha.
So
They're setting that storyline up.
yeah, uh, no, great wrestling this week, all around. Even NXT, which had been on a downslope for me for the last year, has had a great show. Not for the year, about a year, but yeah, that was great. Corden is back, so I'm excited. I love my talk shows. I love my late night talk shows. Corden's back. That was awesome. Kimmel had some great interim hosts like Simu Liu, Lamorne Morris, and Nikki Glazer. The
Nikki Glazer did a hell of a job.
I mean, she had some great guests too. I
She
mean, when
did.
you have Danny DeVito and then Jamila Jamil,
Speaking of those two, real quick, Danny DeVito was live tweeting a new
yeah, I can't remember the name of
animated
the show.
show that he was on, but neglected to tell everyone that he was live tweeting it.
Yeah,
So he just had this string of tweets
that
that was
seemed like unhinged.
utter insanity, and it was brilliant. But Jamil,
The Jamila Jamil telling the fact that the good people at Marvel let me for equality's sake. You know how we've been seeing guys getting kicked in the nuts or punched in the nuts for years. I thought maybe I should get punched in the vag. So, which her words, her
was
words, because first she tiptoed around it and then just flat out said it. No, I think
watching
she said,
her on the wires
yeah, was great.
getting punched in the vagina was one of the funniest things I saw all last week.
And then she's like, "Thank God they don't let me edit things
Yes.
because it would be horrible." But I'm so happy we got that. Like she's like, the good people at Marvel gave me this footage, which thank you Marvel because that's
you.
awesome.
Just watching her grab her vagina
While flying away.
While flying away.
I love Jamila, and then also right on Wednesday she was out in Hollywood, like where they had like all the posters and everything for She-Hulk, like for advertising. She was just plastering posters of herself over them. That was great. I think the marketing this week was great for her. So
She's brilliant. She is just an absolute brilliant comedic mind.
yeah. And then Nebraska's bad at football again, guys. Thank God.
but they all got free booze.
Yeah. Okay.
The internet went down.
I had to tweet about this because clearly Nebraska is not taking their program seriously because
No.
they scored and they were up by like 10 points.
It was 28-14.
And then they onside kicked for
Why?
no reason.
Why?
No reason. Why did you onside kick? There was no reason for it. And of course, they gave 7 points to Northwestern. I'm okay with like I'm a Big Ten guy, and I would rather Nebraska be the better team because they're a more storied school.
Yeah.
But the way they're running things, were they doing it just to keep the international crowd involved or something? I don't know. And that's not a good enough reason. You're a football program trying to build your program up.
This is a football program that has won national championships, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like at one point, this was a team that was a perennial powerhouse.
Yeah.
And
the guy who was the leader of that team is now the head coach, and he's a joke. He's a laughing, like he's a punchline.
The whole school.
He's a punchline. So
the school's a punchline. It's awful. What a terrible way to just like. At least I have no grand illusions. Being a Mizzou fan, we haven't been truly good since the '60s. So
you guys were ranked number 1 for 1 week in 2007.
True.
And then you guys got blown out by Oklahoma.
That is also factual, but I'd like to state for the record that it is a pile of bullshit that KU got to go to a fucking
BCS bowl.
Actual BCS bowl after we beat the shit out of them in Kansas City that year.
They had a better resume though.
And then we went to like the Cotton Bowl or some crap like that. It's absolutely insanity. And they did not have a better resume. You could shove that straight up your pie hole.
And then I also watched 101 Places to Party Before You Die on True TV. They went to Moab, Utah, which was hilarious because they have the weirdest like alcohol rules. They went to this one
Okay.
bar, and apparently in Utah, you can only have one drink for yourself at your table at one time. You can't order like a couple beers, and you can't order a second beer until you finish that first one or a whiskey or whatever. Adam Pally drank them out of whiskey,
That sounds about right.
and John Gabris, whenever he was asking for a beer, she was the look on the waitress's face was like, all right, you got to finish that one. And then like they just kept going back to like him asking for another beer. And it was like 6 or 7 times. And the look on her face, I mean, she's like a free climber or whatever.
Yeah.
So she's used to risking her life. but uh yeah, it was a great episode. I suggest people watch 101 Places to Party Before You Die. And then the last thing I'm going to bring up is I went to a live comedy show, the best live comedy show in Phoenix. It's called This Week Sucks Tonight. It's hosted by my friends Anwar Newton and Michael Turner. It was a great show. They cover the news, and then they're stand-ups, so they have stand-ups come on to do their set, but they're on the sides of the stage and they're just berating the comic about their jokes. And it was great. And this week we had Dana Wisson was on there, who's a very funny comedian from out here. But they had Dave Williamson, who's a very big comedian, on, and he was not expecting to be on there. And he was great. He told a great story about being in college and finding a dog, adopting a dog for a day.
You want
Oh, yeah. And then we had Pete Lee do a drop in, and Pete Lee is also another big comedian. He's like a Tonight Show comedian. He's been on there 7 times. And that was just a great show. But I just wanted to do a little bit of advertising for my friend's show, This Week Sucks Tonight in Phoenix. They're back. It's a monthly show at the Tempe Improv. It's a great show. So, but Anwar Newton and Michael Turner, they've always been very kind to me. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad that those kind of things are back up and running and doing well.
Yeah. All right. You want to take a break?
I guess. Stupid commercials.
All right, man. And welcome back. Thanks for listening to those ads. I don't know if you guys know, but we're talking about the year 1989.
Such an odd year.
Yeah,
again.
I watched a bunch of movies last night. That one that I thought was from 1989 turns out 1990, but it was still a great movie. I watched Kiki's Delivery Service, which is a Studio Ghibli movie, which I suggest everybody watch because I think it was a fantastic movie.
I will have to check that out. I have not seen it, so
it was my first Studio Ghibli movie. So
okay.
Yeah.
I understand the enjoyment of Studio Ghibli. It's just not for me.
They're very pleasant movies.
Yeah, they are.
All right. But yeah, they're a very interesting year. Very interesting year. Some good, some bad.
I found that this movie year was very top heavy for me.
Same.
Like every single one of my movies was almost every single one of my movies was in the top 50 of US box office.
Yeah, same here.
And as far as like honorable mentions, a lot of my honorable mentions could easily have cracked the top 10. But just, I guess, my mood when I made the list over the last week just kept them slightly out.
I only have 3 honorable mentions. There's some movies that I haven't seen that I should have, which I'm not really upset that I haven't seen them because they're not really my bag. But there's only, I think, 3 or 4. And there's one movie that should be on my list, but I don't have as much of a fondness for it. I do have one movie that is on my list that I don't remember too much of. I've seen it the one time. I know I liked it, but I remember very little about it. So, but I had to show the respect because I do remember really enjoying the movie. So, all right. You want to?
Well, I went first last week, I believe. So I believe it is your
all right
turn this week. So what is your number 10 movie?
My number 10 is the only horror movie on my list for this year, and I guarantee you do not have it.
I don't.
It is.
I could just tell you I don't.
It is a Brian Yuzna directed movie, who directed Reanimator, From Beyond. It is Society.
Okay, tell me about this movie because I have never heard of it.
It is a body horror movie, which, if you have heard anything about this movie, most people will discuss a scene in the movie which is called the shunting. But yeah, if feel free to Google that. Don't Google that. Um, uh,
Don't do it.
don't Google that. It's I don't know if that has any other term. I have not Googled it, but I know it because I do enjoy this movie. I've watched it multiple times. It's not a very good acted movie because it's a horror. It's a very schlocky '80s horror movie, but
I didn't think body horror was your thing, though.
it is no body horror is my thing. It's just the hardest thing for me to watch because it is the only thing that makes me truly uncomfortable. I love body horror. I just have a hard time watching it. There's there's certain movies I do love that are straight up body horror. And this is one of them. And it's a horrific movie to experience because like I said, it is body horror. And okay, basically society is about a this very rich like area in LA, like the LA area, and basically society, the upper crust of the society, they are all while spoiling things, they're all basically these alien type creatures, and they feed off of the poor, and basically they think a lot less of the poor, obviously, and they are trying to eliminate them from their area covertly, but they basically this one giant family who's very rich. Apparently, they adopted a kid. So I don't know why. I guess for the movie's sake. And and he starts noticing a bunch of weird things happening. And he starts investigating, and he sees his sister who is turning 18 or has turned 18, and notices something's weird happening with her because they're about to celebrate like her birthday or like her something. I can't remember what they're celebrating. And he goes into her room, and while she's showering, we see her through the frosted glass, and her body is completely contorted.
Mm-hmm.
So like you see her butt like from the waist down, but then you also see in almost clear view, but through the frost, her entire front. So she's completely contorted, which is the first thing that you start to notice. And then everything starts going to shit. And basically, the shunting ends up with this entire society of people feeding on this entire group, or like these two people that they're going to feed on. And basically, they just become one giant glob of human. And they're just like, yeah, it's weird. It's a lot of KY jelly and a lot of prosthetics.
Cool. Gotcha.
I do not suggest this for the faint of heart. It is a rough movie to watch, but if you are a horror fan, it's something to experience.
So what you're telling me is that this should not be the film that I choose for family movie night.
Never, never.
Okay.
I don't suggest this movie until you're like 25.
Okay.
At that mental capacity, when your brain's finished like forming, maybe then you should watch it. But yeah, it's a rough movie to watch, but it's a worthwhile movie for people who are horror fans and you want to experience the worst that the genre can give you.
Gotcha. So Society.
I assume probably not on your list.
No, and I did not have that on your list for you. No.
Worth watching.
Gotcha. Whew. Sounds interesting.
I'll send you a video.
Okay. At number 10 for me, this is a movie from Ron Howard. It has one of my favorite casts ever. It's got Steve Martin. It has Rick Moranis, Martha Plimpton, Keanu Reeves, Mary Steenburgen, Diane Wiest, because you always have to have that Diane Wiest infection.
Oh, yeah. It's the best cold open. It's the best cold open ever.
It is Parenthood.
I did not put this on your list. Wow.
Wow. See, I told you. This movie also spawned a really good, in my opinion, sitcom that came out in the 2010s by the same name. But this specific movie, again, a Ron Howard film, It takes place in St. Louis, Missouri, of all places. Gil Buckman is the name of Steve Martin's character, and he is an executive, a sales executive, and it's all about them bringing up their family.
Yeah.
And it is truly a family centered movie. Uh, this is our like first taste of Keanu Reeves as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Not our only taste of Keanu Reeves this year, though.
no, it is not, my friend. But no, the cast is great. This earned like $126 million at the box office for a $20 million budget. It was a certified hit. This was it dealt with heavy things, but had it dealt with it in a very deft way. So I
A
think
very real way. A very real way.
yes, yeah. You feel like you know these people by
And
the end of this movie, like they are real people that you could be in your life.
I will say, literally, I think the least pleasurable performance by Rick Moranis.
I would agree with you there. I would.
It's
It's also not the last Rick Moranis for this year.
no, it is not.
But no, I would agree with you. It's definitely like
You don't like Rick that much in this movie.
No, you really don't. He is not a nice person in this film.
He's a pretty good father, but he's a bad husband.
Yes, he 100% is.
I've only watched this once. I've only watched this once. It was, I think, last year, and I didn't. I will say, for me, it was just I was kind of thrown off by this movie because, like, it's more of a serious fare that you get from these really great comedians and comedic actors, and it was just it's not what I was looking for at the time. I'm sure I'd probably like it better on a second viewing, but I like. I think this movie is very good. It's just it was not for me, unfortunately. That's why it did not make my list, but. I'm interested to hear more of what you have to say. So,
I think that by far the person that wins this movie, outside of Steve Martin, who is always going to be one of my favorite actors ever, Martha Plimpton. Like
yes.
she is just absolutely brilliant in this movie.
Don't we have River Phoenix too? River Phoenix is in this, and he can't stop masturbating. Isn't that the thing?
Yes.
Oh no,
yes.
it's what, or is it Joaquin?
No, it's Joaquin. It's Joaquin.
Okay,
It's not
yeah.
River. Yeah. River was a little older, obviously.
Yeah.
And actually shows up in '89 a few times as well. But no, I think this is just an absolutely brilliant film. It definitely, like in a heightened sense, but is very realistic about what being a parent is like.
Yeah.
And God, I love Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah,
that is very apparent in this film. She's just a brilliant actor. So I love it, and that's why it's number 10 on my list.
That's great. I'm happy it's there. I'm happy it's represented because once again, not on mine. So
yeah. Also, again, I can't push enough for people to watch the 2010s with Craig T. Nelson, like that.
Lauren, I can't think of her name. The girl from the woman from Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls. Yeah, it's super good. They got like 5 or 6 seasons out of it. It's really good.
Yeah.
So Parenthood, number 10. My number 9 film, I could have legitimately made a case for this being in my top 5 very easily. But the way the cookie crumbled, this ended up at number 9. It is a sports movie. Specifically, a baseball movie.
Okay, I'm thinking of 2. Hopefully I get the right one.
This one has a special place in my heart because I watch this at the beginning of baseball season every year. This movie goes on opening day. It stars Charlie Sheen.
Damn it, I didn't have this one.
As Wild Thing, Ricky Vaughn. It's Major League, and it is an absolute fun-ass time. You had Field of Dreams, didn't you?
I got to ask, is Field of Dreams on your top 10?
It's not.
Damn it. Okay. Yeah, I did not get that. Yeah, I thought Field of Dreams. I thought that was going to be your baseball movie.
Gotcha.
I love Major League. Major League is great. I mean, it's got some bad parts in it, but overall, Major League, incredibly funny movie, and then still just a good baseball movie. Just a flat like does baseball really
Yes,
good.
a great baseball movie. Absolutely a brilliant baseball movie, but it has some of the most quotable one-liners in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot tell you how often I quote this movie because it's all the damn time. From Lou Brown, I don't know, Charlie. I'll have to get back to you. I got somebody on the other line about a set of white walls. I love that. I love it. I like
The
they're
manager
offering him to
is the
be the
best. Yeah.
manager of the Cleveland Indians, and he's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Uh, Neil
Full
Flynn is in this movie as well.
Yeah, this movie just has like character after character after character, and like in they all get their due time, and nobody
Oh
is
yeah.
looked over. Everybody gets has their shining moment, and if you feel like you know these characters, unfortunately they made sequels, but also you get Wesley Snipes in this movie, which is
Oh,
amazing.
Wesley Snipes is as Willie Mays Hayes is just beautiful. Like when he comes out, they've taken his bunk out and put him into like the parking lot, and then
Yeah,
in his pajamas, barefooted, he beats everyone in the foot race, and they're like, "Oh, I guess we should probably get this guy a uniform." Uh,
and he's like he has the he keeps his gloves for his amount of stolen
for
bases, which is
steals,
really
yeah.
cool. And also he's that perfect character that you're like, yeah, that's what a baseball movie should be focusing on is somebody like this character because he's incredible. And also Wesley Snipes, I mean, he's just a this is peak Wesley Snipes until we get Blade.
Oh,
But
absolutely. Tom Berenger as Jake Taylor is great. Rene Russo as his love interest is great. Corbin Burnson does a
yeah,
fantastic job as Roger Dorn in this
look
movie. Like just the
looking
perfect
50.
sleazeball. Yeah,
Looking
he's
50.
looked
He's
50.
probably I know.
He looked 50 for about a 30-year period.
I know.
Uh, but no, when he takes the ball and he comes in, he goes, "I've only got one thing to say to you: strike this motherfucker out."
Yeah.
It's just great. It's great. It's a great movie. It's great storytelling. Bob Euchre, though,
Yeah.
as Harry Doyle, uh, is probably one of my favorite things about this movie. Him just being an absolute drunk and just the as in the broadcast booth. It's just brilliant. And it's great comedy.
I can't think of like his best call because just a bit outside.
I love ball 4, ball 8, ball 12.
Yeah. It's such a quotable movie, and we get a great Charlie Sheen too. This is like as you mentioned, I can't think of it. I lost his name.
Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn, man,
Yeah.
from the
all,
Penal League,
all he needed
the California Penal League.
all he needed were some glasses too, apparently.
um, but no, like, uh, it's too high. It's too high. Who gives a shit? It's fucking gone.
uh
So like, this movie is just it is full of brilliant one-liners. It's a good like sports movie. The end when the Cleveland Indians are going up against the Yankees, like it's just you're rooting for them, and it's a great movie. I love it.
we get Dennis Haysbert too.
Oh, Pedro Serrano
Yeah. And
with Jobu.
I know. We get some
Boom.
really terrible.
We do also learn that Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball. So Jesus, I like him very much, but does not help me hit a curveball.
It's such a fun movie, and it's the best thing that the Cleveland baseball team has ever produced, because I
Ever.
mean
Ever.
they made it to the World Series like 8 years ago, but that was and then my Braves beat them back in '95. So, but I mean
Yes.
this is the best thing that the Cleveland baseball team's ever had is
Yes.
this
Uh, and
fictional movie about their
and,
team.
unfortunately, they, as you stated earlier, they did make sequels, and Major League Two, at least, is an abomination, and no one should watch it. At least Back to the Minors doesn't like completely take a dump on the original movie, so I at least think 3 is watchable, but You should really just watch Major League, the
Yeah.
original from
Yeah.
1989, and just call it a day.
No, I mean, this movie's awesome. Unfortunately, your Cardinals just hit a home run. Um,
That they did. Woo!
it's gonna be interesting last couple innings, but yeah, yeah, I'm happy this made our list because unfortunately it did not make mine. But like I said, I'm happy it's represented because it's just a incredibly fun baseball movie, incredibly fun comedy.
It really is.
So,
Yes. All right. What do you got at number 9, my friend?
well, we've already mentioned him. It's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure because it should like, I mean, be excellent to each other. Come on, man. It's
And
an incredibly fun movie.
party on.
Oh, exactly.
It is. I just want you to know, it is my number 4 movie
Wow,
of
awesome.
1989.
I had it on your list. So, but Bill and Ted is your number 4 and my number 9. It is I love this movie because like you get some just great moments in this movie. Napoleon's moment always gets me too. I always enjoy him at the water park and then also him doing the display at the
Eating the ice cream.
yeah. The last bit, like them at the auditorium.
San Dimas High School football rules.
San Dimas High School football rules.
Rules, yeah.
But it's an incredibly fun movie. I mean, strange things are afoot at the Circle K. I love this movie.
Oh, they are, my friend.
You get obviously.
What number are we thinking of?
69, dude. Obviously it's Keanu Reeves. It's Alex Winter. I love Alex Winter too. It's almost as much as I love Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
But and then you get George Carlin's in this movie. Socrates is is one of the best. The guy who plays Genghis Khan whenever like he's going through the mall with the like at the sporting goods store is amazing. Joan of Arc teaching the aerobics class is incredibly fun. But it's so much fun.
Abraham Lincoln is also Abraham Lincoln
yes.
delivers my favorite line in the entire film.
Party on, dude.
Yeah, it's 4 and 20 minutes ago.
That's great.
But no, it's be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes, and the lights are playing. It's a great way to end that segment of the movie.
It's the dumbest concept. They have to go through history because otherwise, because if they don't pass this speech, Ted Theodore Esquire is going to be sent to military school in Alaska. Because
Ted Theodore Logan and Bill S. Preston Esquire. Thank you very much.
But Ted's dad Bill's dad is going out with their former roommate, their former classmate, which is like a fun running joke throughout the entire movie. But also, we'll never be a super fan until we get Eddie Van Halen on guitar.
But we'll never get Eddie Van Halen on guitar unless we have a righteous music video.
The back and forth of they just go around in a circle in that entire scene about trying to get Eddie Van Halen in their band.
The Missy thing though, like that goes through the entire trilogy of movies, which I think is hilarious. In the first movie, Bill's stepmom is Missy. In the second movie, Ted's stepmom is Missy. In the third movie, Missy is marrying Ted's brother.
It's the best. I love this movie, but like I think I always just remember because that was shot out here, at least the Circle K bit. But I always just remember strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
The Circle K.
Oh man.
No, the whole concept of Bill and Ted creating a utopian society because of their music, but they are so terrible in present day.
Yeah, they get better.
And the way that they get to the future is traveling through time and kidnapping historical figures for basically a book report. It's an absolutely asinine, insane concept for a movie, but it works. And it works because of how likable Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter are in this film.
Yeah.
They are just so damn charismatic, and you want them to succeed.
Exactly. We were there. Many steps and columns. It was most tranquil. It's the best. I love this
Oh,
movie. I'm so happy. I'm so happy it's higher up on your list. So
I know I love this movie. Like this movie is one of those movies that I can just pop on and watch any day and be very happy with it.
exactly.
And it did spawn two really good
Fun sequels.
sequels.
The Bogus Journey is a weird as shit sequel, but it's still great.
Oh,
I,
absolutely. Station.
Bogus Journey gave me nightmares though. That the Easter
Dude,
Bunny,
Bogus Journey is yeah.
the
Bogus
Easter
Journey
Bunny
is
scared the shit out
terrifying
of
in
me.
some aspects.
Yeah. Uh,
So, yeah, it's a great movie. My number 4, your number 9.
yes.
What do you got at number 8 then?
I don't know if this is going to be on your list, but it sure is on mine. Uh, it has the great voice acting of Jodie Benson. It is The Little Mermaid, and I'm proud as shit to have it on here because I grew up watching this movie. It's literally, I think this is actually the movie that brought Disney animation back.
Arguably, I would agree with you. It is not on my list. It was not on my list for you either. It is well worth being on one of our lists, though.
Yeah,
I was not a.
I was a
I
Disney
was
kid.
not a. I was a Disney kid, but like when I think of my favorite Disney movies, it's outside of that top like 5.
Okay,
And
we watched this a lot as a kid in my house. We did.
yeah,
But
but
I mean,
tell me why. Tell me why it's in your top 8 actually.
I could tell you with 3 words: poor unfortunate souls. It's literally it's a top 5 Disney song of all time in my opinion. I think Pat Carroll, who voices Ursula, who is based off of the John Waters character Divine,
Who also
is
just passed away, by the way.
yes. Well, no, Divine died years ago.
No, 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 no.
Pat Carroll died
Pat Carroll.
recently. Yeah.
Yes.
But Poor Unfortunate Souls. I mean, this movie has banger after banger, man. It's got Part of Your World, Under the Sea, Kiss the Girl. It's great. I love this movie. So
The the music in this is pretty phenomenal.
yeah,
I think for me, like Prince Eric was a pretty crap character.
it was
Like
all right.
just
Yeah,
wasn't very well developed,
yeah.
and I think that's probably why.
It's the voice of Greg Brady.
But it's just I think it's a fantastic film. I really do, and I actually agree with you. Um, this 100% brought back uh, Disney animation. You know, before this, the movie that came out before this was like The Great Mouse Detective, which, although is
A serviceable
fine
movie.
movie,
Yeah.
it's just not.
It wasn't that hit. It wasn't that
Yeah.
big hit that Little Mermaid ended up being. And
So I mean, we look at it. We look back at it now in 2022. You know, this is where people are saying that the great quote unquote Disney Renaissance began.
yes,
The Little Mermaid kicked that off. So
yeah.
absolutely a fantastic film.
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly just because I grew up with this movie, but Pat Carroll just destroys this song, and it's just it. Most Disney most Disney file people love this movie. So this like at least that song. So I had to honor it. I'm a big fan of the movie. Like I said, we grew up watching this movie a lot as a kid in my house, so I had to put it on.
Uh, it is really awesome that they did make a Broadway version of this, and I don't know if you've seen the cast for the Broadway version, but it's just an amazing cast. Like Harvey Firestein is Ursula
Yeah,
in that
why
cast
shouldn't he be?
because he's freaking brilliant. Peter Gallagher was King Triton.
Oh,
Cheech
that's great.
Marin was Chef Louis. So
That's
like,
great.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. But do you know? Are they still going? Are they still planning for the 2023 live action version?
It's still on IMDb, so I assume it's got the girl from Blackish, I believe. Hey, Halle Bailey, which actually was she on Blackish or is she just on Grownish? I think she's in the spinoff of Blackish, which
I
is
think she's just in Grownish. Yeah.
So, but
I know Melissa McCarthy at one point was attached as Ursula.
yeah, and Javier Bardem is King Triton.
Yeah, it was King Triton.
I'm not upset about Melissa McCarthy. She's the bigger name, so why shouldn't she? She's going to get butts and seats. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I wanted to put Little Mermaid on here because I legitimately do love this movie. So, because I
I
mean,
don't
like
blame
I
you.
said, it's got 4 bangers on here, at least 4. So,
Don't blame you. It's a great movie.
yeah. All right, what's your number 8 movie?
So my number 8 movie, it is a sequel to a film that was on my top 10 list from earlier in the 80s. Uh, it is also another Shane Black film.
Okay.
It also directed by Richard Donner. I think it is actually the superior of the two films, and this is Lethal Weapon 2.
I'm not doing as well as I thought I was going to. You're
Yeah.
right.
So Lethal Weapon came out in 87. Like I said, it was on my top 10 list back when we talked about 87. It is only fitting that Richard Donner's follow up, Lethal Weapon 2, would be on my top 10 list for 89. This is more adventures of Riggs and Murtaugh. We get to hear how Danny Glover is getting too old for this shit once again. But we get to add Joe Pesci in the mix, which is absolutely freaking phenomenal. Joe Pesci is just a great actor anyway, and the character that he plays, the witness that he plays in this film, is such a departure from his other roles. You know,
Yeah.
Leo in this movie is a worm. He's a snitch. He's in witness protection. We're usually used to Pesci being a very boisterous gangster, and Leo Getz is not that in this film. So it was a really fun departure for Pesci. I truly think Pesci makes this film better than the original. We also get better bad guys in this movie. We get the South Africans. We get one of the most ridiculous scenes of this year, probably, where Riggs and Murtaugh are going into the South African embassy, and Danny Glover is wanting to, quote, go back to Africa, and he wants to go back to South Africa, or he wants to visit South Africa. And we have to understand, in 1989, South Africa was still under apartheid. So, not a great place for Danny Glover to go.
Oh.
And the gentleman at the embassy looks at him and goes, "But you're black." And for some reason, the way that it is just presented is one of the damn funniest things in this movie. We also get a scene where Danny Glover is stuck on the toilet because they planted a bomb on his toilet, and he has
I
to be
remember
there.
seeing that scene.
And he has to be there for hours, and Mel Gibson's Riggs has to pull him off the toilet and into the cast iron tub. So it's got some real interesting, fun scenes. Again, I think this is actually a better movie than the original Lethal Weapon. I think the things that Richard Donner learned from the first one made this one even better. And it's Danny Glover.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
it's Danny Glover.
so freaking good. Yeah, I don't know what else. I mean, we have talked about our love of Shane Black films. This is a very Shane Black film. It's very snappy dialogue. It's a buddy cop comedy slash action movie.
Yeah.
Like, this has all the hallmarks of a Shane Black film, and I think it's done again better than the original Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. Though I think Shane Black, I think he only wrote the first one though. I think everything else is basically off of his characters.
Yes, yes. So this was adapted from his original Play Dirty script, which was obviously rewritten and
Oh no,
rewritten.
the story, yeah, the story,
But
yeah, you're right.
the story is adapted from a Shane Black story, and he actually was given story credit and like based on characters created by Shane Black. So
Okay.
like without Shane Black,
This isn't
this
the
doesn't
universe.
become a
Yeah.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's also a Joel Silver produced film. Who Joel Silver has a lengthy history of producing films that I really like. So yeah, that's Lethal Weapon coming in at the 8th spot for me.
That's awesome. All right, hey, and we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be back with the last 2 of our picks of 1989. We'll help you stick around and maybe listen to these ads, please.
No
All right,
commercials.
And welcome back. Hi, thank you for listening to those. Nick, I have to ask you,
Yes.
What's your 7 pick?
My number 7 pick, I'm sure, is going to be on your list. I don't know where on your list, but I'm 100% positive that this movie is going to make your top 10. This may have been the first time that I ever saw Macaulay Culkin in a film,
Okay.
but it definitely was not the first time that I saw
Known
the
star
known
of,
star of Rookie of the Year, John Candy, in a movie, and it's freaking Uncle Buck.
of course it is.
Where is it on your list, sir?
It's number 3.
There you go.
It didn't make my number 1 spot. I wanted to make it my number 1 spot because this is our biggest inside joke between you and I, is because
Yes.
of this movie, and then also partly because of Scrubs. Whenever we think, if Nick and I are texting each other, if something is incredibly funny, we just send a GIF of John Candy flipping the giant pancake, which is arguably one of the funniest scenes in the history
Oh,
of cinema. John Candy
you think those
himself,
pancakes are? You think those pancakes are big?
big.
I think
You
you got to
should
see
see the
the toast. I
toast.
couldn't even
Fit
get
it
it through
through
the door.
This movie is amazing. John Candy it's might be John Candy's best movie. I don't know, but I know.
It's up there, man. It might be number 2 for me for
I
John
know.
Candy.
But like you mentioned, Macaulay Culkin's in this movie, and this inspired John Hughes to write Home Alone and have Macaulay star in it. The car in this movie is its own character, which is hilarious. Whenever he drops
Yes, it
off
is.
his niece at the high school, and the boyfriend pops his head in, and what did he say to her?
Bug.
Yeah, you ever heard of a ritual killing?
Yeah.
And then
I forgot about that line.
and then he drives off in the giant plume of smoke that comes out of his muffler, which leads him to go over to the elementary school to talk to the principal of his 6-year-old niece, who says that his niece, she doesn't take life seriously, and she's 6 years old, and he goes,
That is a brilliant scene where he just has had enough.
"Here's a quarter. Go downtown and have a rat gnaw that thing off your face."
Because he's got that awful mole.
Yeah. Oh my god. And it's such a great movie. Laurie Metcalf has a couple great scenes in this movie. Whenever she first encounters him and she's hitting on him, it's the funniest fucking shit.
Where when he is talking about his 5-year plan to quit smoking, he's like, yeah, first I gave up cigarettes, now I'm on cigars. Next I'll go to pipes,
and then when he shows up at the party too with the drill, and just the amount of joy on John Candy's face when he pulls out that drill and then just goes through the door is so great. But it's all because he cares about his family. He hasn't seen them in years, but he cares about his family.
Well, I mean, so this is another John Hughes film. We kind of alluded to how this made Hughes want to produce, write Home Alone with Macaulay Culkin in it. This is also John Candy just going balls to the wall, like as a serious but comedic actor, in my opinion. Like there are some scenes in this film that are very serious.
Yeah.
And that he takes seriously, because like you said, he does start to care for these kids, and he wants to protect them, and he wants them to do well, and he wants to be there for them. Especially, later on, Jean Louisa Kelly's character, the oldest child, he does end up bonding with her, and especially after her douchey boyfriend is super douchey.
Yeah.
So I really like this side of John Candy. I think he does not get nearly enough credit for the serious moments.
Yeah.
Like we talked about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles when we talked about 82, I believe it was. And
he has those just standout scenes, those standout scenes that just show you he's not just a comedian. He's not just a comedian. He's an actor, and
he's a fully realized actor,
and he does great work whenever it's called upon. Obviously, but he also just does have just that insane comedic ability because he's just John Candy. He trained at it forever, with him and SCTV, him and his work with just all of his Canadian buddies like Rick. Him and Rick just honed their crafts together, and it's on full display in this movie. His entire acting ability, and I, like I said, this might be his best performance, but obviously, like that could be up for debate because he's had a ton of great performances. So
Yeah. It's I mean, obviously it made both our lists because it's a fantastic freaking movie.
yeah,
And they tried to make a TV show out of it, and it just wasn't good.
I don't remember
It
that.
also didn't have John Candy.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Oh God, I see it right here.
yeah,
They got
this
22
movie,
episodes.
again, it just wasn't good. It was from 1990. Like John Candy was in it, but or I should say John Candy like helped produce it,
Okay.
but it just wasn't good. It just was not good. Kevin Meaney was trying to be John Candy in it, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So Uncle Buck, my number 7, Drew's number 3.
Yeah. What is? Oh, wait,
Yeah. What is your
oh,
number?
no. All right, so this is the movie I alluded
7.
to earlier. That I don't remember a ton from it, but I remember really enjoying it. I not enjoying in the same sense. This movie, like I said, could have been replaced by another great dramatic movie of this year, but this movie stars Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman, Matthew Broderick, Carrie Elwes. It has Andre Braugher in it. This movie is Glory, and
So good.
it's a phenomenal story that is just it's about the Civil War's first all black volunteer company. It sounds like I was reading that off of a page, and I was. But this company is led by Matthew Broderick, who's the colonel, and but Denzel Washington puts on one of his greatest performances of all time, and it's everything like his interactions with Morgan Freeman, because he's a completely different kind of person than Morgan Freeman is. Morgan kind of confronts him on it, and Denzel just snaps back because he's there for a reason. Obviously, so is Morgan, but they're both doing it for the greater good. But they are their interaction in that one scene, I believe it's in a tent, and it just a powerful scene. I wasn't able to rewatch this movie because it was not streaming anywhere. Yeah, this movie, I mean, what are your thoughts on this movie?
So this is one of those ones that could have very easily made my top 10 list, and the wind must have just been blowing the wrong direction, and I didn't put it on there. I actually had quite a bit of difficulty making my top 10 list for this year because, again, there are quite a few great movies, and I would put Glory as one of the best movies this year.
Yeah.
Just, again, at the time, I just didn't feel like putting it in my top 10. I think, as you stated, Denzel...
I mean, he won an Oscar
in this movie.
He won an Oscar for
this
this
movie.
movie.
He won Best Supporting Actor Oscar for this. This movie also won for Best Cinematography and Best Sound. It is, a multi-Academy Award-winning film, and it deserved those Academy Awards because it is a great script. It's perfectly acted. It's perfectly shot. And now I'm sitting here second-guessing myself, wondering why the hell it wasn't on my list.
No, I mean, you shouldn't, because, yeah.
It is a great movie, though. It is a phenomenal movie.
Yeah. And also, by the way, everybody if you hear that noise, it's fine. Nick has a newer dog, and he's playing in the room. It's fine. We're very animal positive here, so like, you didn't take away its toy, did it? Did you?
No, it was plastic bags.
Okay. I had no issue with it. You hear my dogs barking in the background all the time. I do like your new dog. That's the newest one, right?
Yeah, she's pretty cool. Her name's Gabby. Say hi, Gabby.
As in, like, Governor Gabby? I'm kidding.
Sure.
It's a How Did This Get Made movie.
Okay.
It's a very cute dog. Is it Pitbull?
I'm sure it is. Sure looks like it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not too bad for a free dog that was just dumped on our doorstep.
Nice.
All right. No, I love Glory. I think is well deserved. I'm glad that it made your list because it deserved to be talked about.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, I can't really go into too much depth about the movie because I haven't watched it in 10 years, but I just remember being very impacted by this movie.
I mean, critically speaking, this is just one of the most well respected and uh, like consensus wise is one of the most well reviewed movies ever made. It's got a Rotten Tomatoes score of 94%. It's a hell of a movie, and like you should watch it. It's definitely a film that people should watch.
Just so you know, the Braves took the lead with a Dansby Swanson 3-run home run after Adam Wainwright was taken out of the game.
I hate you.
So he inherits 2 of those runs. Hey, I love you though. I love you though. All right. So moving on from Glory, which sorry, is my number 6 movie, which I was not able to watch this movie because it's not streaming anywhere, but I will try and find it. It is a movie that stars Tom Hanks.
Holy crap! This is the first time this has happened since the 1993 podcast.
It is directed by the great Joe Dante. Also stars Bruce Dern and Carrie Fisher and Corey Feldman. It's The Burbs,
which is also my number 6 movie.
Nice. Actually, I did not put this on your list either. What the hell is wrong
How
with me?
Dare you?
Did you have Uncle Buck? Oh, you did. Okay.
I did.
Okay. I forgot to mark it. I'm sorry. But oh my god, is this movie? This movie's not as slapstick funny as Money Pit is, as far as Tom Hanks movies go, but this movie is insanely funny.
Carrie Fisher is so great in this movie.
Yeah.
Like
it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But like Bruce Dern and his hot wife with Corey Feldman constantly commenting on it too. And also Bruce Dern's just like this kind of crazy but like affable military guy who just lives in their suburb, but like he's not like the mean guy on the block, which is completely different than what you normally get from these characters who are like overly like militaristic. But him and Tom Hanks and Rick Document, Document, their chemistry with each other is just so fun, and they're constantly just playing off of each other.
Rick is such a screw up, and I love it.
I know. I wrote down this guy could never lead his own movie, but he is so great as just that idiot best friend that
100%.
It's ridiculous. Whenever Tom Hanks and Art, whenever they go over to the house to knock on it for the first time, and the number on the house is 669, and the first time they knock, one of the 9 comes down to 666, and then they knock again, and it completely comes off the thing, and a beehive comes out. It's so funny.
I think that Henry Gibson as the doctor, as Dr. Klopek, is really good. Like he's just a great that guy in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, he was in Wedding Crashers too. I forgot. He was the preacher.
Yeah, he plays the priest.
Yeah, the priest.
Yeah, he plays the priest.
Wedding Crashers.
He was also. I mean, he's been in a ton of stuff. Like he was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. He was in the original Nutty Professor. He was in National Lampoon's Vacation. He always played. He was the head Nazi in Blues Brothers. Like he's always that guy.
Yeah.
Like he's always a bit part that's like just perfectly hilarious.
Yeah.
So he was in Inner Space. He's in Inner Space as well. A movie that we talked about from the '87 podcast. So
it's just such a kind of a weird slapstick movie, and then also all the scenes in the house whenever Art is going through it, and then Corey Art pulls out like a plate. It looks like a plate of cookies. I don't know why they're in like the fridge, but then Corey Feldman just slams the door open, and the entire glass shatters, and it's like, but the interactions between Tom Hanks and Carrie Fisher, because they're a married couple, and they're just
it's so good.
She's just so fed up with him trying to figure this shit out, but it's such a a movie that I didn't appreciate until I was a lot older, until I was like in my mid-20s.
I would agree. I also would like to state that this was the first time that I had ever basically heard of a staycation, because the premise of this movie is that Tom Hanks's character Ray is like taking a week-long vacation at home to do
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
And then he finds something to do. And then,
Yes.
hey, don't worry, we got the pizza man coming. And then all of a sudden the pizza comes and the door slides open. There's like fucking 50 pizzas in there for some, like Corey Feldman just like, this is the time where he sounds the most like Donatello too. It might be this.
Yeah.
And it's just, this movie is just incredibly, incredibly funny. And I'm so happy it made your list.
Yeah. When they at the end when they finally find the like the skeletal remains of the trunk,
Yeah.
like you could just tell that Tom Hanks's character is just like
Relieved.
he's just so yeah, he's so relieved that he was right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that everything just wasn't just everything that he was doing wasn't for nothing.
Yes.
Man, this
This movie is definitely hilarious. And you're right. It did take me much longer than it should have to appreciate it.
it's just the lengths that they go to get to the into these people's houses. Like whenever what's
Oh
his
yeah.
name? Whenever Bruce Dern's trying to go over the fence and he jumps
Yes.
and falls and he's and they're like, "Hey, you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, go and throw over the equipment." And they throw over the pickaxe.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
it's such a fun movie. Ah,
it
man.
is.
I
I'm
have to go
glad.
to
I'm glad that this made up both our lists.
I have to go to my local video store, House of Used, to go rent this movie if they have it because I need to watch. Like as soon as you sent me 89 last week, I was like, I'm definitely watching The Burbs this week. Like whenever
I
I
love
actually
it. I
when
love it so much.
I have a kind of a running joke with nobody. Uh, it's just whenever anybody mentions Tom Hanks, I'm like, oh, Tom Hanks, the guy who the star of The Burbs. It's just do you know that comedian Daniel Van Kirk?
Yeah,
Whenever
I love Daniel Van Kirk.
when he was on Doug Love's Movies years ago, and he wouldn't be on as himself, he'd be fake Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, that's perfect.
And
That's perfect.
I feel like he was better at the show when he was fake Mark Wahlberg. I swear to Christ, he was better at the game. But whenever he would mention whenever anybody would mention Tom Hanks, he would always just say, "The star of The Burbs, Tom Hanks." It's just I like it, but he'd do it in that Mark Wahlberg voice, in that
Yeah.
stereotypical Boston voice, and it was my favorite thing. So
No, DVK is fantastic. He's on a podcast that I listen to constantly with the Sklar's
Dumb
Dumb
People
People
Town,
Town,
and then
which
also Pen
is
Pals with Roy
fantastic.
Scovel.
Pen Pals with Roy Scoville. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just an incredibly fun comedian. I actually got to see him do a Doug Love's Movies one time as fake Mark Wahlberg, and it was incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Hey, that was our bottom five and one of
Let's go over them real quick. Yeah.
Nick's
Let's
top
go. Yeah.
five.
Yeah. And one of your top five as well.
Yeah. One of mine. All right.
My top or the bottom five of my list: number 10, Parenthood; number 9, Major League; number 8, Lethal Weapon 2; number 7, Uncle Buck, which was also on Drew's list at the number 3 spot, and then both Drew and I had The Burbs at number 6.
Yeah. And I had number 10 was Society, a movie that
You can't watch until you're 25 years old.
number 9 was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which was Nick's number 4 movie, which is excellent. My number 8 was The Little Mermaid, because yeah, it should be. Number 7 was Glory, and as Nick mentioned very recently, number 6 was The Burbs, starring Tom Hanks.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Well, that was a lot of fun. I can't wait to talk about our 4 of our top 5
Yes,
next
4
week.
of our top 5. It should be a good time.
I think they're going to be very similar.
I do too.
I guarantee you 3 of them are going to be the same.
I think you're probably right. I'm down for that. I think 3 will.
Because I know one's definitely not on my list. I know one's definitely on your list.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we'll see next week.
Yeah. Hey, I'll see you next Tuesday. All right.
Get vaccinated.
Yeah, you should. Okay. God, Yadier Molina's only added bad tattoos to his neck.
It's not good.